Cool.
Hello, my name is Nick Haines, and I'm the creator of the Vitality Test, the unique way to understand what drives you, what makes you brilliant, and what makes you a little bit flawed. Today, I have a wonderful guest. I have the inspired, the Monique Blokzyl from the Business Launch Portal. Welcome, Monique.
Hi, Nick. It's so wonderful to be here with you.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine, all mine. Now I'm gonna do a little bit of embarrassment here. I'm gonna tell everyone listening all about you. So Monique, one of the things Monique does is she helps start up businesses all over the world to change and turn their ideas into real businesses, and I mean real businesses. And she's done this for years and years and years. She is herself a renowned international speaker, a coach, a published author, and she has won the public speaking Toastmaster competition twice at European level, which is a real biggie. She has shared the stage with motivational speakers like Cheryl Roche, international leaders like the US Foreign Minister John Kerry, the Malaysian Prime Minister. She has a business launch radio, which has thousands of viewers a week from over 40 countries all over the world. She advises and she helps startup hubs as to how to get businesses going, and she travels the world. She is an international player, and that's one of the reasons I'm excited to have her here. Monique started her world 15 years ago. She spent 15 years working in marketing and change management, and she worked with some really high up companies, was playing at a really high level. And Monique, that was when, and we've spoken about this is when you kind of just saw what was going on, what was not right, and that made you flip, that made you change, that made you move on to a different mission. Do you want to just say what it was that you saw, what happened?
Right. Well, what I realized, Nick, is that so many people, especially in the corporate world, right? I mean, they're working in jobs, but it feels like they haven't really chosen their work out of passion, right? So I've met so many people that really, don't like what they do every day, and maybe they like it, but they don't love it. They don't have this sparkle in their eyes when you see them in their office. So it really has become my mission to help people, choose wholeheartedly what they want to do. And, my mission is really to help people realize their business dreams, especially when they love to start and grow their own businesses. Yeah, that's my passion.
Yeah. And that having a business that is based on your passion is a thing. And it's a subject we could just delve into, but I actually don't want to do that. I want to talk about fear. And I want to talk about the fear that stops you from starting something new, because this is a big one, isn't it? It's a big one for entrepreneurs.
And absolutely, yes.
Yeah, it's it's probably the biggest one, isn't it? It's the thing that stops you at taking that very first step. And I know at the Business Launch Portal, you do all the practical stuff to help people turn ideas into real businesses. But let's just talk about the fears that stop you from starting something new. And I know we've spoken about this before, and you have a really, really good 3-step process to help you overcome those fears. And is it okay we kind of talk about that?
Oh, I love to, Nick. Let's go for it.
So let's be really logical, and let's start on step number 1 in overcoming your fears. Okay?
Right.
Go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that the very first step is really to be very clear on what you want and why you want it. And Nick, I don't know about you, but for me, it's been like that for a long time. I didn't really know that I was afraid of anything, because I didn't think about it. And, many people, when you ask them, they wouldn't say, well, I'm afraid of anything, because we're not aware of our fear in the first place, right? But, still often, I guess you meet a lot of people that you work with as well. A lot of people are not really fulfilled with their life, right? I mean, they're not very happy in their jobs. They don't jump out of bed with joy in the morning, right?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people are in unhealthy and unhappy relationships, have health issues and so on, right? And I think that is always an indicator that there's something in our lives that's holding us back from living the life we want, right? So, why are a lot of us not afraid of fears? And, I think that, for a lot of people, it's, they're even more afraid of what might happen when they change their life and they go into a different direction. Then, so they're more afraid of the fear of what lies ahead, of the unknown, than of the fear of staying where they are, because at least they know where they are at the moment, right? So how can you deal with that? And I personally say always, the key number one is really turn the unknown into something known, right? And of course, we all cannot predict the future, right? But we can kind of create a picture of the future that we really wholeheartedly want to have. What kind of work do we want to work in? What kind of things do we want to do? What type of people do we want to be with, right? What kind of relationship do we want to have? And I think that the first concrete thing, and you said, let's go for some concrete things, right? It's really create our so-called bucket or wish list. What are the things in my life that I want to have before I die? What do I want to be? What do I want to do? What do I want to have in my life? And get clear on that. And then also ask ourselves, what don't I want, right? I know for a lot of people, it's much easier to talk about, what is it that they don't want anymore? What type of job don't they want? What kind of relationship is it that they don't want? It's really, if you think about in 10 or 20 or 30 years, what if you were still in the same job? What if you were still in the same relationship? And that also, really often gives a shocker to people, right? They say, well, I rather and I better change than stay in the same thing. And also think about, it's not only about you, your life, I mean, we live in our families, in our communities, with our colleagues, but think about what impact would it have on them if you stayed where you are and you were not happy. And there's one concrete example I could give about me in my life when I was 18, Nick. Believe it or not, but I was going from door to door, knocking on doors and really selling insurances. And every time I did that, I really had to overcome a fear. But I just kept in mind that, why did I do that? First, I wanted to get the experience of how it is to step out of my comfort zone and do something uncomfortable. And let's be honest, I also wanted to make money. And overcoming this fear again and again with every time I knocked on someone's doors. Well, after a couple of months, I could pay my driving license. So, because I knew what I wanted, it drove me to really go there and knock on the doors. So that's just one example.
No, that's absolutely brilliant. It's kind of absolutely so clear. To your first step is you know what you want, your go-to. You know what you don't want, you're away from, and then you pick a purpose that's bigger than your fear.
Very, very true. Yes.
And at your age, at 18, one of the purpose was to get a car.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as we get older, we sometimes think, actually, my big purpose is to change the world, or to feed my family, or to pay. So know what you do want, know what you don't want, and have something that's bigger than you. And that's a great first step. Step number 2, what's that? Once you've got that knowing.
Well, I don't know, Nick. Have you ever been in a situation where you knew exactly what you wanted and still you didn't go for it? You didn't take a step to make it happen?
Yeah, I think we, as entrepreneurs, we have all been there, Monique. We have all been there. Or we're liars, or we're lying.
And we will be there again and again, right?
Absolutely.
So even being very clear what we want doesn't necessarily mean that we take the first step, because we're still afraid, right? We haven't dealt with our fear yet. And here's 3 concrete things that I think people can do when they realize they're not stepping forward, right? First, they should ask themselves, what is it that they're afraid of, right? For example, if you out there dream of starting your business and you're not getting yourself into, okay, I'm starting to do it. I'm starting to think about, what do I want to do? You're not starting to go out and speak to potential clients and so on. Ask yourself, what are you afraid of? Is it getting a no? Is it really, the fear of failure? What is it? Is the risks, does the risk seem too high? What is it that you're afraid of? And then ask yourself, second question is, why are you afraid of that, right? What does it mean, fear of failure? Is it that you are afraid of looking stupid, or not be liked anymore by people around you? And ask yourself the third question, what is the worst that could happen, right? And for most of us today, even failing with a business is not an existential fear. Most of us wouldn't end up in the street, not to speak about even losing our life, right? Yes, we would fail. Yes, maybe we would look stupid for a moment, but would that be the end of it? Normally it wouldn't.
No.
And then you can take things, you can take preventive actions and think about what can you do to make sure you're not, hitting the worst situation that could happen. For example, when you want to start a business, just make sure you first have a financial safety net or whatever. So, ask yourself, what is it that you're afraid of? Why are you really afraid of it? Then ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen and how you can avoid that. And once you have all these answers mapped out, you will often realize that the fear is what it is. It's just being afraid of something that might happen, but it's very likely never going to happen anyhow, especially when you take preventive action. So, Nick, I guess you've been there too, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I think those steps are kind of really concrete. That first one of naming your fear. We have a thing at the Five Institute, a saying at the Five Institute, that fear hates fame. And actually, sometimes if you just say, I'm afraid of not being liked, you know what, it kind of starts to sound a bit daft, and it displaces it. And then, like you say, you just say, you know what is the worst that can happen? We're not going to be eaten by a tiger, are we? It's not going to happen. And actually, if there is a danger, how can your third step, which I think is great, what do I do about it? How can I mitigate that? How can I stop that happening? And actually, I think if you name it and realize how silly it often sounds, and you do the worst case scenario, and then you deal with that consequences, it just deals with it. So I think that's a brilliant second phase and some 3 great concrete steps. Now, so I think it's fantastic. Now, I might be brilliant, I might be extraordinary, but I'm not a mathematician. But I do know that we've had 1 and we've had 2. So logic tells me we've got number 3 now, Monique. What's the third?
Absolutely, there is one. And Nick, you know what? I loved your tiger. What I realize is that the biggest tiger that we normally face is sitting within our head, right? It's sitting between our ears, isn't it?
Yeah.
So these are the biggest tigers that hold us back from moving forward.
Yeah.
Yes, but you're right. I love how you can count, Nick. Number 3 is really, I think that people need to, once they've gone through step 2, they've analyzed their fear, you guys just need to make a decision. Think about, are you going to move forward? And if you've decided that, yes, I've taken my preventive action, I know it's fear, it's not likely going to happen, and I'm happy to go forward, well, then go forward. Take the first step, take action. And there's so many wise people that say, well, life starts outside of the comfort zone. And I guess, Nick, you know what I'm talking about, right? We just need to step out of our comfort zone step by step. And I know that's the hardest for a lot of us. So how can you do it? Well, one suggestion I have for you is just, if the fear is too big, too overwhelming, think about what is the small step you can take right now. So chunk it down, make it smaller. For example, if you say, I don't want to go out and speak in public, well, you might not want to go on a stage with thousands of people for the first time, but just go out and speak to your friends and family and just, take the step, move forward. If the step out of the comfort zone seems too hard, then just go a little bit beyond where you are at the moment, but take this first step. And, I've heard many wise men say also embrace failure. You cannot move forward if you're afraid to make a mistake all the time. So, just say, well, it's great to go out and make mistakes because then I'm going to get feedback and that's really going to move me forward big time. And, these are the greatest things. And then also, a last suggestion is bring others on board. If you think you cannot do it on your own, if you think you don't have all the skills or the expertise or knowledge or the money or whatever you need, just bring others on board and let them help you move forward. So once you've made a decision to move forward, once you have decided to go forward, just take action. Take this first next step. Break it down into smaller steps that you do feel to a certain extent still comfortable with. Be happy to fail. Embrace failure. Remember my story when I went from door to door knocking on doors? Most of these doors were shut into my face, or, it was raining, it was nasty, and still some of these doors opened, and I've built a couple of amazing relationships. And yes, I sold some things. So, embrace failure, say, yes, I've tried it, and eventually, you will succeed. And if that's not enough for you, just bring others on board to share the risk and the joy of failure with. Nick, how does that sound to you?
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. I'm 100% with that. I have this big thing. As human beings, it is our fundamental right to make mistakes, isn't it? And the only problem is if you beat yourself up about them. That's the big thing. We beat ourselves up at. So I'm with you. Yeah, just embrace failure, embrace mistakes. That's our fundamental right. That's how we learn. We hang out together. We support each other. I know you support thousands of people through the Business Launch Portal, and so get help. And whether it's a colleague like yourself and a friend, or whether it's at the 5 Institute or what you do, just grab some help and take those little first steps. Yeah. And yeah, the stuff that we do sometimes seems scary to other people. We started doing little things. So that's absolutely fantastic. Those are some 3 really clear steps. And I'm sure people are going to listen to this video again, just to write down those, get them again. So absolutely fantastic. And I cannot thank you enough for spending this time with me and sharing those. Now, a little bird has told me that you are doing a free webinar with the wonderful Jill Duca, the international best-selling author of the book Love Now, and you're doing a free webinar with her on something special, talking about something pretty exciting. And details are going to be below this video. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. So everyone that has enjoyed this video and everyone that is saying, yes, now I'm ready to move beyond my fear, to move forward, with my business, or bringing my business to the next level, or living a more fulfilled life, well, then join us in that free webinar that I'm going to give together, as you said, Nick, with our wonderful, beloved Jill Duca. And, everyone here is now probably asking the question, how can I sign in? How can I join? I want to know more. I really want to move forward and take the step. So underneath here, there is going to be all the details. You find the link there to sign in. So looking very much forward to see all of you that are committed to take next step. Come and join us on this great webinar.
Yeah, absolutely. Both Monique and Jill are both inspired, international, very successful entrepreneurs. So I'm going to be there. I'm not going to be on the webinar, but I'm certainly going to be watching. And Monique, I really want to thank you for being here and sharing all your wisdom. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that webinar. It's going to be good. Going to be good. Okay.
So do I. Looking forward to have all of you on. Fantastic.
Okay. So thank you so much, Monique. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you, Nick.
So my name is Nick Haines, and I'm the creator of the Vitality Test, and you have been experiencing the wisdom and the vitality that is the wonderful Monique Blokzyl. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you. Bye-bye, Monique, and thank you for being here.
Bye, Nick.